So starting off this week by looking at the S&P 500, we can see some good growth in the electronic technology section with Broadcom, Micron, and Intel as well as AMD experience some good growth. We can also see that Amazon has grown by a significant bit this week in the retail section. And we can also see a lot of growth in the producer manufacturing sector of the S&P 500, with Lam Research being the leader in the section. And most of this rally this week has been because of the potential 2-week ceasefire in the Middle East and a potential opening in the Strait of Hormuz, leading to also energy and minerals sector of the S&P 500 experience some less favorable growth this week. But overall, this has been the strongest week in the S&P for the entirety of 2026. And the key takeaway from this market has been that there's a strong relief rally rather than purely fundamental growth. Moving on to look at some raw materials. This graph showing the crude oil WTI futures, we can see a sharp decline. This happened right after the announcement of the ceasefire in Iran. Moving on to look at some more commodities, we will look at gold. Gold has had an increase this week of 1.5%, but zooming out to 1 month, we can see that gold has decreased by 7.9%. So the price movement of this week has mostly been some consolidating of the prices. Looking at silver, we can see the same type of movement, but this week silver increased by 4.4%, which is also, but silver is also down 10% on this whole month. Moving on to look at some crypto, we can see that Bitcoin has increased by almost 6%. And then looking at Ethereum, we can see that it has increased by 7%. So some interesting information about crypto this week. Morgan Stanley opened up their Morgan Stanley Bitcoin Trust, which has helped with institutional interest in crypto, which has increased people's risk appetite in the product. Some other interesting information this week is that the New York Times released an article about who the Bitcoin founder is, where they named a British man named Adam Back to be the infamous Satoshi Nakamoto, which is interesting because it's the same person that John McAfee pointed out as Satoshi some years back. So that's also interesting to note. So now moving on to something maybe a little bit more interesting, my own portfolio and what type of growth I've been getting this week. So starting off with some investments for this week, I have only added 464 crowns to my portfolio this week, which I got from some tax that was due back to me. Also this week, I have had a lot of growth in my stocks and ETFs, which has led to a total value increase of my portfolio of 11,612 crowns. In dollar terms, is approximately $1,252. And my biggest winners this week have been Volvo B, Investor B, as well as a Bitcoin certificate, which has also been increased this week by 1,800 crowns, which is approximately 194 US dollars. So moving on to look at what I bought for my added funds. I bought a Swedish index fund, which you can see on the screen right now. So looking at my entire portfolio, we can see that for this week we end up at 418,000 crowns, which is in dollar terms $45,178. So to end this video, you can please like and subscribe, and please tell me in the comments if you want me to do anything different or add anything in the next week's recap. And I'll see you guys next week.